Okay,
Repair request?
Are you Tyler?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I'm the one who bothers you on the phone. Oh, God.
I thought I recognized your voice.
I forgot one thing, and probably the most important. I'd ask the board to consider increasing some wages for employees in the secondary road department. I'm finding difficulty. I've been trying to find a mechanic for quite some time. And the wages that we're offering, sometimes when you offer a person that's qualified, that's one of the reasons they're turning us down. We also have quite a few openings right now on exit interviews. The last half dozen exit interviews, employees have stated that they thought the wages were a little low. Operators are needed in order to run the equipment. Mechanics are needed in order to repair the equipment. And I would just ask the board to look into the possibility of doing that. I know you did 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was, and it was appreciated, but if you would again look at that. And if you do have some questions as far as comparables to other counties, I can certainly, we have a salary survey tool. I can provide information to you if you'd like it, to compare with other counties and what other operators are getting, benefits as well. And I know that, I believe anyway, I think there's going to be negotiations. It'll probably get brought up then as well. But
when do we start? Is that coming up this next year, or is it a year later?
it would be for next, beginning July 1 of 2023.
The negotiations, do they start?
They'll be starting, I would assume we will receive the collective bargaining unit's proposal sometime shortly. So, anyway, thank you.
Have you looked into potentially cross-training any of our other employees? Like some of the ones that are territory operators right now, to get some of them trained as mechanics?
Well, they do some mechanic work. It's more of the, when they have to replace different. Right now, for example, there was a DEF heater went bad on one of the trucks, and that can't be done at the local shop. It's got to be done down at the mechanic shop. We've talked about it, and there's been times where some guys go in and help the mechanics. However, right now we've 4 employees down and a person in the mechanic shop down. It makes it, if a person that doesn't have the knowledge and the abilities, it's going to take a mechanic to watch him, and then he's not doing his work. That'd be a difficult situation.
Yeah, which I get that. I mean, I just know my own personal stuff and whatever. Sometimes the second set of hands can make the job go that much faster. Not everyone has to have 100% training on everything, but turning a wrench, doing oil changes, changing hydraulic hoses, some of that stuff, I mean, could potentially save our other mechanics time. If
The operators are responsible for those types of things.
Okay.
And it's not uncommon for operators to bring hoses down to a shop and get them made and put them back on.
Yeah.
So, some of that stuff is happening.
Anything else?
No, thank you very
I
much.
want to put it on the agenda sometime and provide us some information on what other counties are doing.
I could, yes.
That could be helpful.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
You bet, thanks.
Mark.
I didn't respond.
You just.
just has to run. We can get the two-year tractor, cause we just will get the same guy, cause we gotta have they gotta have a long reach.
Get right over to it.
Especially mine, cause I'm trapping the beavers and we ain't gonna reach the radar level. No, it's down in there.
Pocket Reitzel.
Yeah, we'll put right to window.
Mr. Stecker, you had some requests?
Yeah, I got a couple here. Number 55 is Hebron section 30, washout along bank, looks like Dean Gale House. 56, Robert Price, Lincoln 32, main tile washout. 62, Marv Heidecker, Lincoln 20, big hole in the middle of the field, so probably a washout on tile there.
There's no rain, doesn't wash it out. So I don't understand how they're finding it while there's no rain. The tiles
There
are
hasn't
empty.
been much,
Let Marge know who you're gonna have to do that.
yeah.
Mr. Casey?
I got number 60, it's in Prairie, Dana Arndeford. I'm trapping them right now, so they could wait a week, which rights will be a week out anyway.
Yeah, it'll be a week.
And, that's cause like I said, they need a long reach, they ain't gonna touch it otherwise they'll just knock the side out and then they ain't gonna do nothing. So,
I got 4 here, is one's in tri-84, request number 57, Reitzel take Beaver dams out. And then I have another one, number 58, by Fenton. And there's like 4 little beaver dams all in a row. Have Reitzel take those out. Number 59, Bill Grinch net, broken tile. It's in Plum Creek. Let's see if the road department will do it. If not, I'll find somebody else.
you got anybody getting in there getting a beaver?
Yeah,
So you take the dam out, well, this time of year, if the water all goes away, they'll die. But,
no, I got somebody supposed to be trapping them.
as I say, otherwise that harms kids up that area.
Yeah,
Talk to him.
yeah, he's trapping the ones by Big Six. That's on a private right away. The state got after me to find somebody, Bill Rudy. I got a broken tile in Gary Yukins. It's about the 3rd time it was broken in the same area. It's in a waterway, not enough water. Give it to Brent, and I will talk to Brent and see if we can put in a longer section of pipe. To make it more permanent.
Move supervisors take care of the request.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Platt, second by Lost. Supervisors do their request. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. Anything else, Mark, on the repairs? If not, we will go to voluntary annexation. We will, but we will wait 12 minutes, won't we?
Morning.
It is a good one. Kyle, I'm not so sure that one of Dean Gill houses that we didn't fix not that long ago, too.
Never finished, just set up a November meeting for something like this.
That'll be Hebron 30,
Yeah.
okay,
There's some issues up there.
on the bank,
Yeah.
okay.
You might wanna take a look,
Yeah, I'll.
see if we can
definitely-
fix it better,
Okay.
more permanent.
Do you have those logos on the board?
Would. That's on
Form of this,
82.
the patch?
Would that have been
No,
done?
going over?
If we do it, it doesn't come out.
Okay, yeah, I can, interested in the
Is that
annexation.
project on 82 on a lateral? Or is that
We
on?
didn't go, we didn't go that far, we made,
Annexation.
yeah.
Interested in the.
We did clean part of the main on 82.
That's what I thought.
Interested in the 82 annexation.
What's that?
Well, yeah, potentially, but. Interested in the hearing. Yeah, I can have fun there.
That's what supervisor.
Hearing the town.
There yesterday.
Right.
Thanks.
Yep.
We could sit it, both you and Harlan, right?
Interested in the 82.
Yes.
Annexation, they are the report there. I was gonna say, soon here. We want anything overhead, or I think everybody's got a copy of the. Board now.
Well, yeah, if everyone's got a paper copy,
Okay.
should be good.
I can just address anything I would put up would be the
Get the highlight.
figures in the report anyhow. So.
What's the last time this thing was last by?
I don't think ever.
That's what I was,
Um,
that's not the answer I wanted, but that's what I expected.
I don't think ever, and actually, I can give you that.
No, I
Spoil anything on it, but, it's awfully, it's all over the place, and
Yeah.
so in our efforts to classify it, we did the best we could to match the area that it's in, but yeah, there's holes all over it. And it's-
I didn't think all the acres were even in it, that should be in it.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is not the only area this is the only one we were assigned to look at.
Right, but there's more areas that are taking advantage of it that are not paying.
Right, yeah. Which, isn't,
That's not on you.
right, that's not rare. It certainly lends credence to the request. But, yeah, it's not good.
Tyler,
Yes,
thanks for taking care of that problem for me last week.
the,
DD4 resumes.
yes, yeah. Yeah, one of those,
Thank you for taking care of
you
it.
bet, yeah,
That was a guy who wanted to take care of it.
It's gonna sign it, signed it.
Appreciate it.
you bet.
Nobody's gonna speak, so I'm gonna sign.
That much frost yesterday.
What?
I was just out ripping on
It's rotten, but it's frost.
the night before it snowed, so. Not yesterday, Sunday afternoon, evening, it wasn't pulling up chunks for
They
nothing.
meet and say, yeah, it's reasonable.
So that's where we were digging, there's no.
It's not involved in this.
Well, there wasn't at that time either, not much being around either. I anticipated chunk.
My being ground just exploded.
What's that?
My being ground just exploded this year. We're the indicator, but things like push.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
The party was gonna get typed up for an extension request.
Do you wanna touch on that after the hearing?
Yeah, I think if we have time, that it would be bad, kind of give a quick rundown.
Yeah.
You talked about things that are in the city. It was really a matter of either we push this book on struggling ground, or we gambled, we lost the weather, you know? It was one of the two that was going to have to happen.
Right.
So, either way, someone's gonna be
Well,
a little unhappy with how it was done, but
thank you.
Not supposed to get two of them? Oh. Oh, maybe that's just one.
you were interested in the A2 extension? That's the report to that. Yeah, shut the door, lock the vehicle.
Going the whole off-hand date, probably be better, so there's scrap. Otherwise, they're not gonna be able to use it.
Yeah.
There's a sign on the way out, right? Here, it's as well.
This is the affected flood area.
Yes, yep, the red
Doesn't
is
match
what's
the
the
rain,
rain.
currently out of the district.
Right.
This is the affected flood.
Yeah, right, correct. Yep, and I'll get to, thank you, I'll get into all of that
Okay.
as we discuss it, but yeah, that's the, based on. the-
Would be, could be, should be.
Correct. And that's all with the rest in the tabulation in the parcels. That area
Yeah.
is all on the tabulations.
Okay. Oh,
And if on the earlier portion of the.
all right, that makes sense.
Cause yeah, it doesn't follow the parcel lines.
Yeah, I wondered how they got clear up here.
That's just
Now
all
the map
based.
makes sense, cause I didn't know where that was.
Mhm. That's just all based off of the topography, the color coded elevation map that they're looking at.
They're remarkably close to the 110-year-old lines.
Very much so, yeah, it's, for what they had available to them,
Yep.
it's pretty good. Yeah, this one, I was really surprised with. I was thankful for that, the agreement you sent me that allowed me to put the drain in exactly as it was drawn, and
Yeah.
when you drop water on the model, that's what you come up with right there, so.
Good.
And they said you teach them what you know, and this is just.
Ten, 12 acres.
Are you ready, Tyler?
Yes, yep.
We got 1 minute. $21,847 acres in drain 82.
That sounds about right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a lot of acres, a lot of ditch miles that,
Yeah, it takes a long time when you're looking at it.
watch pot never boils.
Yep. The clock keeps ticking. It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, all right. Good morning, all. I'm Tyler Conley with Bolton and Mink, professional engineer that was appointed by the board to investigate a voluntary annexation request that was made into Drainage District number 82.
We need to open the hearing, but,
Oh, yeah, perfect.
yep. Do I have a motion to open the hearing on DD 82?
So moved.
Motion by Stecker, I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to roll call, sorry.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Jerk.
Yes. Now we're.
Sorry, I just get so excited about drainage.
You-
So, yes, review of a voluntary annexation of Drainage District number 82. I believe everyone has a report. We'll go through that here. If at any time there's any questions, comments, anything you'd like me to address any further, just go ahead and let me know. So to start, there's a summary page here on the report. This was for a review of one particular area of request for Drainage District 82. This was not a review of the district at large for any annexation or reclassification. It is just specific to the voluntary requested area. This is both an annexation and a classification to match the best that we could, myself and the two commissioners, Kent Rohde and Rich Rosenmeyer, to match the existing assessment schedule. That annexation area and the proposed classifications are what are shown in the first two tabulations. Ultimately, that is what the findings are. That is based off of the information shown on the maps attached thereafter. The first being a locations map where the area of request is circled in red. This shows the whole district in blue with the current assessed parcels being ringed in the dotted black line. So as it's displayed on here, this area is very clearly out of the district. As on the next page then, we have what is the color-coded DEM. This is a digital elevation model. It represents relief from the high areas to the low areas. Highs, the highest highs are your bright reds. The low lows are the deep dark blues. Everything in between that, the yellows, all just depicts the relief through the district. The green lines is both the open ditch of Drainage District 82 and also the facilities of the consent drain agreement that is attached at the very back of the report. Those are the last 4 pages or so. What this digital elevation model is in more detail is it is every square meter of area the state flew. There's equipment, they fly the state, they shoot a laser to the ground, they record the amount of time that laser takes to bounce back to the plane. That gives them elevation data for there's a point for every square meter of ground, so every 3 foot by 3 foot. That is what this color, it's broken down to that level of detail. With then the consent drain facilities in there, we run a water model that takes and it compares every square meter to every square meter around that, and so on and so forth, all the way out until it builds that red watershed boundary that you see on here. So that is, in essence, when water falls on here, how the water via surface gets to those facilities and then gets to that consent drain and then gets to the open ditch of drainage district number 82. That would cover the annexation portion of the report. In essence, the question is that land benefiting from a facility of 82? My answer to that is yes, based on the consent drain and agreement. That tile line is draining water to the open ditch of Drainage District 82. Therefore, they are receiving benefit from that facility's existence.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Why that you're talking about that drainage ditch that is a private tile, right?
Well, in essence, it's a private tile, yes.
Why, after all that tile was probably put in the 50s, 60s, 70s, why now are we annexing it in? I mean, why wasn't it done back then?
Likely because it was never brought to anyone's, more importantly, wasn't brought to the board's attention.
The short answer is it should have been.
Right. It since that tiling had been put in, it should have been part of the district. In essence, that area has been receiving free benefit from the district in the event of any sort of clean out or repair project. These areas haven't been included and haven't been paying.
Okay, I've got another question then. In that private tile there that drains into your ditch on 82,
Mhm.
has there been any repairs done in that other district then on that?
You mean on,
Repairs on the tile line, you're saying, or repairs in 82 in the
Going
district
into
itself?
the creek there, where the tile goes into the creek, has there been any repairs done there?
That I don't, as far as any work on that tile line, that I'm not sure of.
Because I know there's been blowouts and stuff on that private tile line, and I'm kind of speaking for Scott Bloom, my wife Corinne Bloom, and we pay for that ourselves.
Okay, and that would fall in line with protocol if since it's a private tile, it's managed under a consent drain. It would be the responsibility of those on that agreement to resolve the matters of payment. This is not a matter of making that a district facility. It's a matter of recognizing that private tiling is using the ditch of 82.
Because I know Childresses are complaining, some of their ground has a private tile that drains into our private tile, I should say. And there is not enough fall in there to get the water away quick enough. That tile is laying so flat, and I guess I've never seen how much water comes out of the end of that tile.
And I would imagine that you're spot on. It's probably very flat, an aged tile, like you say, put in the 50s. If it's blowing out, that's indicative of both age and capacity.
but we're not
We're,
annexing the tile.
right, no, the tile isn't becoming a facility. It will remain under that consent agreement until such time that an improvement.
Then back to my first, why are we getting annexed into this now? I mean, yeah, we've been using that for X amount of number of years, but why do it now? What's the benefit of whoever brought this up?
The benefit would be if that tile is undersized and it's blowing out, and there's a desire for an improvement project or even a repair, or to get a tile through there that isn't reliant on a consent agreement, it falls under the actual drainage code. This would grant those landowners the opportunity to partake in district proceedings.
Because most of that tile goes through the Bloom ground and the Alberta Trust, or Alberta Bush ground. And, neither one of us, the Blooms for sure, they're getting at the age, they're out getting 60 and above. They have no intention of redoing that tile. Or the Bushes, are not in favor of it either.
Okay.
And I think, did the Childresses bring this up to get this annexed in?
I believe. Well, I guess I didn't
Yeah, I did,
include.
yeah.
I guess I didn't include
I
the
did.
petition, but
Why,
That's the reason, we're ready to tile, but you're not ready to fix it, that's the reason we're here.
so you're gonna run your own tile?
We'll do whatever it takes to make sure we got good
Because
drainage.
we're not having anything done on our ground.
Correct.
So-
You guys.
But that is a separate issue from today.
yeah, that's
yes.
any
But-
sort of district proceedings or additional tiling talks would come after today. But for those to be held as part of a district hearing, this would have to happen. This would have to occur first.
So what, then, we're here in this 160 acres here in this corner. That District 82 goes 3 townships over. So we're gonna end up paying for work that's done 3 townships over then.
Only on it would only be pertinent to the main open ditch. Well, if there are additional schedules for the district.
Now, that big tile that was put in, north of, I think it was the place, Dopies, your folks' place here. We would be getting assessed for, if this was done back then, that we'd be getting assessed for that big tile.
You would have, yeah.
And that has no benefit to us.
And you're hitting on what is a really good argument for the overall reclassification of Drainage District 82. That's not what I was appointed to look at, but in getting into the assessment schedule, the current assessment schedule and the assessment of benefits on this district, there is a good argument for one of the biggest signs of inequity is right what you hit on, is that landowners are paying for repairs or improvements on facilities that they do not benefit from. In the drainage code, if an improvement project is done, reclassification, at least of that facility, is required.
So too they of us. What we pay for a ways away, they pay for.
Correct.
Back
Under,
it's not like we're
right.
paying for the farthest away.
And they don't
No,
pay
we-
for
right,
exactly under the way that it currently sits. If there were any sort of improvement project done in this area, it would require its own reclassification. It would then have its own schedule. The rest of the district would pay for that. Oftentimes at that time, because it's all just majority computer based, it's sometimes considered to just do the whole district and give every facility its own schedule. But again, that's outside of what today is. That would have to be a separate.
We have the same issue, Phil. All of what we own and much of what we farm is in 82, and we were assessed for that big project. We benefit a little bit, but it's, the little bit and a lot is come up, made possible with computer modeling. So
Right, and there's
it isn't an equal assessment, it's based on elevations and stuff, and
It's based on your
No.
benefit.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we have
And-
the same, yeah, way down south of Buffalo Center, you know, where everybody's paying for that big project up north, so.
Ultimately, like I said, this is all with respect to the open ditch. Any large tile improvement project should come with a reclassification. I can't speak to any repairs. Those can be done and left under the same schedule unless the board is convinced that there's inequities in the existing schedule. Then they can motion for a reclassification. So that is to say, all of your arguments and all of your concerns are valid, but it doesn't change the fact that these areas are benefiting from the main open ditch, and they've been called to the attention of the board as being benefited for the request for the rights of the drainage district, to share in those rights, essentially. So,
Okay, one thing. So we're getting this annexed into 82, or whatever we wanna call it, just so Tilges's can run a tile to that ditch.
Well, you can as well.
what the owners,
We've got a tile there already, and there's not enough fall.
This
On
goes
our
back to
ground, there's not enough
some
fall.
more the concept of public drainage like
Right.
101. The private didn't work, right?
The what?
The private agreement didn't work,
No,
so here we are.
This gives us some opportunity,
What-
we've gotta get rid of water, I mean, in order to.
what the
maximize-
annexed
What-
parcels do with
You-
their
excuse
rights.
me, you're talking, you had what, 2 acres that drowned out? So you're gonna do all this for 2 acres?
It's not ground,
That's not our tile.
we're after all the places where you have 130 bushel corn, you should have had, 250 bushel corn, all those places, and there's a lot of them. The water table's too high, we need to get it leveled out, and that's what the process is
I
about.
don't think we need to explain why we want a tile. That's not a conversation at hand here. We tried this personally, what, a year or two ago? Privately, I should say.
Yeah, and you were told that we're not gonna do it.
Right, not just you, anybody.
Well, technically, you can't put a big main tile into a open ditch that you're not assessed into.
Yeah,
There we go.
and that's why I said this really should have been brought into the district when that tile was put in.
Even if it was
because-
done privately,
Yep.
it would benefit from the district and should be brought in
Right.
at that time.
We got
Well, you know
130.
back then, that Bud Bloom, Joe Engelbritson, and whoever else was on here, they're all deceased now, didn't pay the county to do that.
Well, they didn't get permission, this isn't paying the county, that those acres were never annexed into DD 82, and they should have been if
Yeah.
you're gonna receive benefit.
There's a process for that, and if it had been followed, it would be in the records and it would be in the district. So that's the short and simple answer to your question.
It has nothing to do with county tile, this meeting.
No,
It has
because
everything
this
to
is
do
not a
with-
county tile.
Yeah, whoever gets benefit from DD 82.
And it's our responsibility as trustees to make sure everyone within the district is treated fairly, and currently that's not the case, so that's part of the reason for this.
And why those acres got left out of the drainage district, who knows?
So now are you gonna change your drainage district maps in to include?
Well,
So you're gonna make that 82 bigger yet?
yes, it will be.
My wife keeps giving me, I should shut up, so.
No, no. Keep asking questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of this meeting,
Now,
is to
our-
answer those questions.
Our taxes higher in ditch 82 than where we're at now?
Well, currently,
You
you're
mean
not
land
paying
taxes?
anything.
Oh, I know, we're paying taxes for, was that 55 or whatever that, our drainage area now?
Are you talking the other direction?
Yeah,
Yes.
so I mean, the assessment into 55, that'll not change.
So yeah, those would be two separate things. They'd still be divided with that boundary, so some of your acres would pay for going south, some would pay for going north. currently the ones that are drained to the north aren't paying for any drainage tax. And that's all dependent on any work that's
I was
done.
gonna say,
So
by
if
drainage
nothing-
tax, you mean if there is no assessment, there is no,
If nothing's
additional
happened for the
payment.
last 10 years, there still would be nothing, but if something does happen, then you share a portion of that bill.
We got 110 years of free outlet, Bill, from 1913 forward, so we should feel good.
It's not unusual to have that happen,
Right.
but we are cleaning some of them up throughout the county.
that's essentially, yeah, what it comes down to is that these get cleaned up as they come to light and it's, nobody's ever really happy with them, but it's the right procedure and it's the right process to go through. Finishing up on the report here from the classification of those acres then, because it wasn't a full reclassification of benefits that go through the new process of factors and area, what myself and the commissioners did was we tried to, based on like parcels in that area, assess a wetness and a proximity factor, so how close you were to the ditch and what your overall soils wetness types were compared to parcels that were already in the district. What that created was the classifications that are color-coded on the map. The highest classifications show up in red, the lowest classifications district-wide show up in green. On the blow up of that area, you can see that those that are closer to the ditch of 82 have a slightly more yellow-green, and as it goes farther away and the acres get smaller, you get a deeper, darker green, meaning a less classification. The classification is it can be a confusing statistic, but it's something that the code requires that you assess to lands. Classification is not the percent of project benefit. It is the percent compared to the highest percent of benefit. The 100% class obviously does not have 100% of the project, any sort of project dollar cost. They simply pay the most of that bill, and everyone else pays that percentage of what the 100% classification was responsible for. So it's a rather confusing statistic, like I said, or requirement, but it is what the code requires get given to all of the benefited lands.
So I think they would like to know how your engineering fees are gonna be spread through the acres.
It would be my recommendation that because this area should have always been in, and it's a benefit to the district at large, I feel it should be a district expense. That's ultimately the board's decision. But it's not a specific request, it's not tiling across a boundary. It's something that should have always been in, and I don't feel that the landowners for bringing it to light should be overly punished in the cost of cleaning up the district. My thoughts.
I agree with you. Does anybody have a disagreement with that?
No, it should be a district
Yeah.
expense in my opinion, because it's a benefit to the district and it should have been a district responsibility all along.
No, I agree with that, but I wanna make it clear to the
Okay.
people sitting here.
What are your charges to do this?
I don't know, do you have what I don't know
Do
what.
you
it-
have a rough estimate? I mean,
it's-
are we
it-
talking tens of thousands?
No, it would, I think the original thought was $7,500 or something like that for it's just time and material, it's all what my time is in, it follows the code, we can't work for any like lump sum amounts or anything like that as drainage engineers, it has to just be, track the time and what I have into it.
25 cents an acre for the whole district.
If that's what it was essentially, yeah. And that would be another nicety of spreading it over that amount of acres, not that is the justification for doing it that way, because again, it's a benefit to the whole district, not just to these landowners. But it's relatively small when considered over the whole acres of the district. But as far as the actual number, I don't have that. I could look through our accounting system and find that, but I don't have that number today.
Is there any other questions?
I got one more. Say we decided to put a new tile in there. Do we have to get the okay with the board count or the supervisors, you guys to do that?
No,
No, so this-
you're okay, is
But I
okay.
mean, if we're gonna put a new tile into that open ditch.
Right.
We gotta get it okay with you,
No.
no?
Not now that you're in the district, you don't.
Well, we have to approve this, so after today.
Yeah,
That would be a change, but what this does is it gives you the ability to drain into the district legally. And you could still do a private tile if that was your choice, but it gives that access, so to speak.
That's a fair point. Can we just talk on the topic of, learning here? If and when we want to improve greatly, which is going to be something we want, what's the steps involved there?
So it would be,
Just so we all,
it would be similar to the process for what we're doing today. A petition would be, filled out, filed by a landowner, and then it'd be our responsibility to go through the process as far as appointing an engineer. They do their work, you'd come to the hearings, and just kind of flow through the process that way.
To elaborate on the answer to your question, of getting permission, as far as any private tiling is concerned, no, you have the full beneficial use of the open ditch. As far as any shared involvement from other landowners, that is what Kyle's talking about, that would require a petition. And then, like you said, the process of going through an engineer, that goes through to a report stage. There's separate notification and a separate hearing process for all of that. Also, for any sort of improvement, any sort of tile improvement, there is also a process known as remonstrance, which is in the event of a recommendation for an improvement, if a majority of the landowners by count owning 70% of the land area, if both those two things have to be met, if they object, the improvement project is halted right in its place. Repair projects don't fall under the right of remonstrance, but there is no district facility here to repair. So that wouldn't be applicable in this case. So those are the two scenarios for private tiling. No, you're just to your own. Like I said, you have full beneficial use, or the petition process.
The wetlands law still applies, and I don't know, there's a portion up there that looks a little wet.
Yes, that you're getting more into the specifics of any sort of improvement project.
Even private,
What's that?
even private tile.
Well, you're right, yeah, of any conversion of certified wetlands is a big no-no in the NRCS's eyes, so.
Any existing tile laying there, the big tiles you've marked in there, the green ones,
Mhm.
those will not be considered county tiles.
Correct.
Those are considered still private
Those are still,
tiles.
yep, correct.
Look at your wetland determination before you put plow in the ground.
Already done.
Ready?
Anything else? If not, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Stecker, do I have a second? I'll second, or Platt. A motion and a second, can do a roll call vote, please?
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey, Lost,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes. Next, we have a decision to make on voluntary annexation of acres into DD 82. I would need that motion.
What's your recommendation as far as language on wording it to accept the report as presented?
Yes, for the annexation and then,
And classification?
and I think that would,
Do they need to be separate?
I would treat them as separate, annexation first, because you can't classify without the annexation. Accepting the report and annexing the ground in the first motion.
I would move for that.
Your motion would be to accept
To accept the report
the
and,
report and to annex the acres into DD 82.
Yep.
So I have a motion by Stecker to accept the report and annex the acres into DD 82 presented by the report. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Platt. Discussion. Hearing none, do a roll call vote, please.
Stecker,
yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Lost,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes. Motion carried. Anything else that you guys have on DD 82?
And then we need to do the classification.
Oh, that's right.
Be the classification as, accept the classification as presented
In the report.
in the report and add the values to the existing
Schedule
classification schedule.
of 82. So the motion would be to accept or to reclassify these acres as in the DD 82.
Wouldn't be a reclassification, just classification.
Classification as in the DD 82 report. Schedule. I would make that motion.
I'll second that.
Marge, got that down? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Lost,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes.
And you'll update our maps.
Yes, I will get that information to Luke, to be placed into the system. Yet today.
Okay.
I can't promise it'll get into the system today, but I can promise I'll get it to Luke today.
Phil, you got any more questions?
No, she's kicked me in.
Well, there's a hospital across town if you need to get checked out.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions on DD 82 or any drainage issues? If not,
Thank you
thank
for
you for
coming.
coming in.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
And with that,
We are up to discussion with our county auditor.
Okay, so, we'll finish with our general election, which went pretty good. We did have law enforcement, whereas general manager went to the wrong precinct and was very upset about it. Sheriff's office responded before he got to the correct precinct, and he was fine. So it all turned out good. Our precinct election officials handled it very well. go without any issues, and, everything was handled well.
You say he was fighting?
No, no, everything went fine.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, everything went fine, so, no, he was calmed down by the time, well, I think when he saw law enforcement, so, that kinda helped, so, he was a little worked up with the dollars, so. Tomorrow we do our audit, the state, drew Cresco 1, so we'll be auditing Cresco 1 tomorrow at 9:00. We'll be doing the governor, lieutenant governor race and public measure 1. So that's what will be audited tomorrow at 9:00, and that's open to the public, so anybody can come and view that audit if they wish. I've been talking to Elizabeth with Gardner and Thompson, getting ready for our next audit. She will probably be here in January. One thing we have to focus on this year is the new gas fee law, which talks about leases. So we have to now report any leases. It could be anything from copy machines to equipment, but we also have to report any farm leases we have. So Doug and I will be talking about that, so we can get that together so we're ready when she comes in January. As you probably noticed, Deb's been busy decorating outside and a little bit inside to get ready for the holidays, so she's been spending a little bit of time doing that. It looks really good. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions about the election.
Just thanks to you and your office and all the workers for putting in long hours.
Thank you. They did put in,
You gonna tell them about the email to change the sway?
yeah, I did already. I already emailed him and I already told him to go ahead and fix it, so he already sent me an email back, saying he would go forward.
Taking your key, personnel over there.
Oh. Mark, you get the two that didn't wanna go over here, to the training meeting, the second.
Yeah, yeah.
You got that down, and anything else?
There's only 2 that did not go, right?
Right.
Yeah, she said she would when she got back.
You know if Rights is over on back on working yet or not?
I don't know if they're working on it, they have on the list of people that do that, but I don't know if they've been out to do it yet. I can check with them.
Couple weeks after calling me again, and then I got a hold of Rights, and he said he had a job that week in Hancock, thing is supposed to be moving over there.
So that, you asked a question about PK1.
Yeah.
Reitel. He contacted me a couple days ago. He was moving his, long reach for that cattle crossing. So he was working on addressing the list of the work orders that he'd received on that.
I think it was about 5.
He said there was a handful of them. He didn't tell me an actual number, but.
There's a couple in Rogers area then too.
Yeah, you've got a couple cattle crossings to do.
Yeah, we were getting a detail to him for those and things like that.
Got a new secretary now, you might wanna.
Yeah, we have been informed of that. That's
Yeah.
pretty seamless transition there.
Yeah, but
from our.
she's kinda green, so she needs a little explanation on everything.
Yeah, they've been pretty self-admitted of that, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Heard.
it's not carefree like it used to be.
Yeah, essentially. I actually stuck around too if you, for some project updates with the snow on 4. They were making some pretty good progress with the final cleanup and leveling and everything, and now with you talking frosts moving in and the snow that we've got, and I don't want them out there making any big mess. We do have room in the FEMA, what is it?
We talked with Leon yesterday.
The
He said
cutoff.
The pop date for the state level and stuff is March 23rd, I believe.
Yeah,
Sometime in middle to end of March. So he said we can't extend it that far, and he anticipates the state extending the pop date because of other projects he's involved in that definitely won't be done well into 24. So he expects a disaster timeframe to continue, which is one of the reasons we had set the completion date on this as December 1st to have it done before the winter, but
what we were up against was because we changed the size of those from 1.5 to 2, there was a lot of spoil coming out. They worked well within their right of ways and we didn't destroy an additional rows of crop. What that meant essentially was that if we waited till after harvest, we just had from end of October through till
winter.
yesterday when it started snowing to really get a lot of that finalized. And that was kind of the gamble of when winter was gonna set in, to get it completed yet this year. I have my doubts. I've talked to McCarty about them submitting a formal request for extension. Just didn't want people to be caught off guard when that request came. Thoughts from anyone on that? I can't say much, I know, cause it's after the.
What about all the extra tubes, are they gonna get reimbursed back to the drainage district?
No, that's not, they are only paid for the tubes that they install. Anything that's sitting,
Yeah,
Goes
that's,
back.
well, that, we haven't paid for it, period.
we haven't paid, the district hasn't paid on those tubes.
So we won't
Yeah.
get reimbursed because we haven't paid for them.
No, but we gonna get stuck like back one?
No.
Stocking fee?
No.
Cause I know there's a lot of tubes up there.
Oh, yeah, no, the lay down yard, I've seen, they've got quite a bit sitting there, but no, that's not, won't be the same situation.
Cause I heard, people were talking up there that, Lubenthal's taking them all, cause he's got them piled up somewhere, so it's like, no, that's the drainage district's tubes.
Well,
It's not even his, it's McCarty's pipes.
right, I mean, McCarty can do with them what they want, they're the ones that have paid for them, the district has not yet paid for them, because they have not yet provided us the logs to match with our logs with how many they've put in.
Yeah, they're only paid on install.
Right, so that's a brief update there. Also with the Goshi lawsuit that had been filed, we were
Which
named in it.
I asked Tammy about that earlier today, and she didn't know anything about it, but have any of you guys been served for lawsuit in the last 2 weeks?
Well, get served here like you did last time.
Well, I anticipated today, but I got an electronic notification, there's a almost 500-page lawsuit.
On what?
We'd be talking till next week if I went over everything.
In short, it's on Drainage District 80 and DD 18.
And a lot of other things are mentioned,
Right.
decades back.
Our attorney through Bolton Mink had reached out to Jim Hudson. Figured that would be someone that you would consult with in the matter.
But if we haven't been served, the clock hasn't started to respond, so just be aware that'll be
Nothing's
coming.
come to the water.
I think it was just, obviously, it's just been the electronic notice
So far, yep.
that we have received.
We
So-
had an email forwarded to us.
No, there was, Tammy sent some documents,
That's not it.
that's not it, no.
So, thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
Mr. Stecker, you got anything to report on?
No, Tyler kinda touched on it with 4, obviously there, but as I said, during discussions with Leon, we have some ability to move that, so we'll have to go through the process on that, but otherwise, no committee reports or no other boards, no.
Oh, I had some drainage stuff and, roads and people not getting treated the same and DD4 guy got a hold of me that the tubes are still there and the guy wanted to work the ground, so I got a hold of Tyler and the next day they were gone. He said he's having other problems up there too with the cleanup.
Yeah.
So I gotta take care of it real quick. And, well, yeah.
Done?
No committee meetings, just start getting some calls in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's probably a week.
Okay.
Just had a couple of phone calls, I talked about those earlier.
So all I had was questions about the pipeline, questions about roads. On, the other item with wages. Do some thinking.
Negotiations to start.
That's what I said, where's the negotiations?
Negotiations at this stage, when they're so close. But we'll see. Talk about it, and Rick's put it on the agenda.
Next week, we do have the completion hearing for drain for lat 28.
Anything else on the agenda?
They're also gonna tell you the damages for crops and all that.
Damages are in the
Yeah,
completion report, yeah.
Mark-
Just for that 28 though.
Yeah, lat 28.
Yeah, that's the tile project, not the open ditch.
Not the open.
No, that's completely separate. Same district, but separate projects.
Anything else? If not, we are adjourned.
Go keep some beavers. Okay, do something before that.
Oh, it's gonna be cold Friday morning, so this.
So,
10 below inch on top.
Yeah.